Lima komere mo.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome to another evening of Straight Talk here on West Coast Radio 92.1. Again, interesting topics ahead of us for tonight's show. And as we always want to let our listeners know, this is a talk show that brings a national discourse on issues that affect us as Gambians, issues that are key to our going forward as a nation. And we just want to have a straight talk and also be respectful about our opinion, with our opinions. We do not hold brief for anybody. We just want the nation to keep the discussion alive and provoke our thoughts, provoke our actions to do what is right as a nation. Tonight, again in the studio, I have with me Mr. Nyanjai, and of course, manning the technical side is DJ Bombastic. He's been very, very supportive and been with us all throughout. So thank you and shout out to Bombastic for the great work you keep doing in this radio station. Mr. Jai, over the past week, we've seen Senegal. We've seen, and you know, Senegal and Gambia, we could say the demographics are almost the same. A higher percentage of youth, illiteracy, unemployment rates and things like that. So the demographics are more or less the same. And we see what has happened, the reaction of people when they felt an opposition candidate and opposition member was being dealt with unfairly. But obviously everybody knows that what has happened in Senegal is beyond Sonko. There are other underlying issues that were fuel, and this Sonko thing sparked, and things erupted, and definitely did not go well. People lost their lives and all that. But being neighbors, and I think every wise human being could learn from the mistakes of others, learn from even the success of others. But for us as a nation, for the leadership of the nation, for Gambian people, parents and the like, what lessons can we learn from what has been happening in Senegal?
Good evening, listeners. Thank you so much, Mr. John Charles Njai. I'll start with the wall of saying, Kula Sutat Nekonjoro. Gambia ak Senegal dañ bokka askan, bokka deret, waaye utee jiko. Loolu mooy lan? Olof lañoo laka, Pol, Sose, and others. Suñ lekka yi benn, suñ diine yi daanaka benn, waaye suñ jikko yi du benn. Dinaa la wax jàngat bi gën a gaaw ci li ma jàng ci lii mooy the business community in Senegal dañ gëm dara. Business leaders dañ am responsibility to society.
Okay.
Bugan Danigay, the owner of Sen TV, he put the people's interests over his personal economic interests, and he supported the side of the people, and that's why his TV station was cut off. Wolf, the same. Okay. In Gambia, show me our business titans, our business magnates, from Jawara to date, who on position of principle will do something against the establishment. None. Wow. Let's call a spade a spade. True. They all go with the status quo because the status quo breaks their butter. That's one. Yeah. The people of Senegal, you said similar demographics. I say no. Okay. We have youths, they have youths. Everything the same. The difference is their mental orientation and consciousness. Okay. The Senegalese, in general, are politically mature and politically conscious. All right. Most of the people that were out in the streets were not out there for political reason, i.e. Sonko. They were out there for socio-economic reason and the rights of their citizenship to be preserved. Okay. Unlike Gambia, Gambians fight for the wrong battle, but the battle butters their bread. So the conviction and courage of conviction of the Senegalese has once again been put to the test, And they have shown power where power lies. Okay. That power resides with the people.
But again, will that not be unfair for you to say Gambians, we don't rise up to the occasion? Everybody agrees that in 2016, Gambians did exactly what they felt was right to do. They felt the Jammeh government was not defending their interests, was not doing what it was supposed to do, and the people went to the polls and voted them out. And is that not political maturity in spite of all that Jammeh had under him? Gambians got out, and most people will tell you that the vote against Jammeh was just a revolt. For they wanted a new system, they wanted a new nation.
First, let me just make a clarifier here. I don't condone the violence that happened in Senegal.
Okay.
But it was inevitable. Why? The income disparity, the inequality gap is widening in Senegal.
Yeah.
Likewise in the Gambia. Now I'm going to make a mirror image.
Okay.
You see Macky Sall driving every day.
That's where I was talking about the
No, you see Macky Sall driving every day, V8 cars, living a life that the people you're governing are not living.
And the people around him.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you look at the videos coming out of Senegal, you are seeing anger being displayed. Yeah. And that anger has no political undertone, it has a social undertone based on inequality.
Yeah.
Youthful population in Senegal, youthful population in Gambia. The difference and divergence, like I said, and I will say again, no offense to my Gambian people, but the level of political maturity, sophistication, and understanding of issues, socio-economic issues, is not the same.
Okay.
The Senegalese are not easy people you can hoodwink like the Gambian.
Okay.
Politics in Senegal, to a point, it's not politics of issues, but to a very point, the electorate knows right and wrong, and they know what they want. Unfortunately, in the Gambia, the people in the driver's seat are the political class, and the political class want an electorate that is lazy, lethargic, and indifferent to their plight.
Yeah.
How can we change that? That's the million-dollar question. And the only way we can change it is for the youth of this country to take the responsibility of nation building and start punishing leaders who are not fit for purpose.
Good. You know, you talk about the political maturity of Senegal, but they have had an opportunity to change leadership across party lines, and possibly that has helped with their political maturity to see that it is possible. With this is the 2016 is the first time that happened for us to change into an opposition party coming into so possibly we are growing, and there will be change. But let's move to the hot issue on the table. Goodluck Jonathan is back in the Gambia, where as things stand now, from news that I just got a few minutes ago, it's like we are back to square one as per whether, and the main issue, the most contentious, is the issue of retroactivity. When does the term of the president start? And all political parties in the country, as it were, have shifted. Somewhere against retroactivity now. Some have said, well, if that is the only thing, let us have a new constitution. The Gambian people can decide at elections. And we have only one party now on the side of saying no. What are your thoughts? And how do we proceed from here? After we would open the lines, I think Mr. Salital wants to be on.
Nyangai's voice and Nyangai's opinion is not mainstream, nor is it palatable.
Okay.
All of Njai ne kunjoh yep, do jel yep. That's one. What does that mean? Our current president knows very well from whence he came and where this country got out of. Yeah? The main reason we wanted Jammeh out was to end self-perpetuation. The very reason that we felt that our democracy was on shaky foot because term limits wasn't in it.
Yeah.
So this president, it should be incumbent on his conscience to say whether the law allows me or not. It is good governance to say no Gambian henceforth will have 2 terms in office.
We'll have more than 2 terms.
More than 2 terms in office.
Yeah.
Explicit or implied. Explicit meaning that's what the book states in black and white. Implied meaning I will not open it for ambiguity, but we will make sure this is what happens. Therefore, I am saying the stumbling block it's not the political parties. It's the wish, aspiration, and the desire of this president to have an envelope that may be more than 10 years. Not saying he will win the next election or even be here thereafter. That's not the issue. But the mere fact that he wants a carte blanche to be able to have a 15-year possibility, I think that in itself is a sellout. To the Gambian people and the wish for a better and a new Gambia.
So now we also have a side that feels that if you want, now you're talking about self-perpetuating rule, but with a 1997 constitution that has no term limits, that constitution encourages self-perpetuating rule.
But we can make amendments before election on that.
Well, but you see, even with amendments, let's take for instance that you're going to have an amendment of term limit. There will still be disagreement as to when the term limits are.
No. There is what you call substance, and there is what you call principles, and there is what you call form.
Yes.
Here, the citizen-in-chief is responsible whether we have a constitution or not. And the constitution right now has been kidnapped. Like I said, Nyanjai's words are not palatable. And we Gambians need to start speaking the truth, allow me, and speak it for God's sake. If we booted out Yaya Jammeh because of his indifference to the plight of the greater good, we should also remind this president that, hey, Mr. President, with all due respect, overwhelming majority of Gambians welcome your ascension to power. But what you are doing right now, whether you're doing it by proxy, because we have and we know people who are doing the bidding for you, but you are the ultimate benefactor. Come out and tell Gambians that no Gambian henceforth will have more than 2 term limits, whether it's implicit or whether it's implied, explicit or implied. My point here, Mr. Jai, let us be fair. You see, a compromise is compromising our principles. And we must, and we should, allow me, please.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want an interjection on this one. I just want you to allow me to finish.
Go ahead.
We should not compromise on the principles and the basis why we booted Yaya Jammeh out. That will be selling the Gambian short. And Nyanjai will not support any idea, ideology, program or promotion that will sell the Gambian short. I am very short-fused and short-tempered when it comes to this because it shows mere selfishness of the Gambian and the leadership in this country. Period.
Mr. Jai, that is your opinion.
It's not my opinion. That's the opinion of any conscientious Gambian. Allow me. No, Mr. Jai. You have touched a nerve and we need to get to the bottom.
We have to listen to each other.
Please, we will, but I want you to understand one thing. Solo Sandeng didn't die for us to be sitting 4 years after talking about term limits. Let us respect the Femi Peters and others who fought gallantly to give us what we have here today. If not, we are all sellouts, including the very people who are promoting this by proxy.
Can we look at options? Gambians.
I don't have an option.
Mr. Jai, but you are not the only Gambian. Gambians, every Gambian.
Nyanja is speaking for Nyanja.
Yes, so every Gambian has a right. And
that's their right. My right is based on principle. I don't have an option.
But you have to know, but you have to listen to the conversation. Now, I am also saying there are a group of people, Gambians, that are also saying, I know the political parties that were in this talk celebrating, some held strong views. Now some of them are now shifting, and I think a good number of them have shifted and said, okay, if that is the only thing, if we allow the 1997 constitution to stay, then we are encouraging self-perpetuating rule, because with the 1997 constitution, if the president wins by simple majority, he can still decide to continue delaying the constitution, and you are giving him, instead of 15, you are giving him 20. Some Gambians are saying, can't we have a referendum on this one? If the retroactive is there, Gambians can decide at a referendum. If it's removed, Gambians can still decide at a referendum. And again, Gambians have a choice to decide December 2021 that, okay, maybe the president has dealt us a bad blow. Why don't we just vote him out like we did Yahya Jammeh? So is that not an option? And is that not a better option than to say we don't even have a new constitution before the election?
There is a word in the English language called appeasement. Nyanjai, like I said, my words are not palatable when it comes to this issue because I'm very emotional about it, yet still logical.
Yeah.
I believe we suffered for far too long and we have paid a very hefty price to transition, albeit a failed transition to where we are minus Jammeh.
Okay.
We should not allow ourselves to be cajoled.
Okay.
We should not allow ourselves to be boxed. And we should not allow ourselves to go with the whims and caprices of people whose interest is nothing but their mere narrowly defined personal interest. If that's the case, Nyanjai will stick with his principle. And I don't mind being the lone voice, and the lone voice is all or nothing.
All right, we have Ms. Salital. Sally, we're just discussing the issue about a new constitution before the presidential elections. And I'm sure you have your views on this. As a member of civil society, what are your thoughts going forward? That the issue of retroactivity seems to be the sticking point, and what should the Gambians look out for? What should the Gambians do to ensure that this discussion is not hijacked by the political class and we are left at the end of the day without a new constitution? Mr. Tan.
So excuse me, I'm starting a mistake. I mean, I hope my brother is there.
He's here. You should have listened to his. He's here. You should have listened to his viewpoints.
Yes. So basically, I mean, for me, I don't want to talk about the issue. Is not about retroactivity. The issue is about Gambia should have a new constitution.
Okay.
I mean, given where we came from, we all know that the 1997 constitution was used as a tool to entrench leadership.
Yeah.
To perpetuate and consolidate the power of the express like them.
Yeah.
It has been amended almost close to 50 times. All those things were designed to give so much power to one person.
Yeah.
So here we are. There will be absolutely changing in 2017. We want to have a new constitution, and this constitution sought to address the issues of the problem in the current constitution.
Okay.
Our parliament rejected the draft constitution, and there's a process that's trying to bring it back on track.
Yeah.
And I think it's very shameful that, and it's happening. I'm just being polite. That the only reason why we cannot have the constitution because we are stuck in a binary of those who want the family to start to start in 2017 and those who think it should start when the constitution comes into force. I mean, I have to concede that I believe that the family should start in 2017. That's my point of view, because I think that no president should serve beyond 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, equally, I think, but that's my personal opinion, and I don't, it's not a legal issue, it's a political issue.
Exactly.
Because the Constitution can determine what the law is. The Constitution says that the term is 10 years, and that any president should start 10 years, including the incumbent. That is the law. There's nothing absurd about that. There's nothing disparate about that.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding, I mean, since that is the issue, I mean, at heart, I think it is not up to Salital or anybody
to decide.
It's not up to President Barrow or Senator or candidate or Ismail pay for all benefits.
Yeah.
To determine when the term will start, I think this issue should be determined by people. Let the people decide whether or not they want any president, including the incumbent, to serve beyond 10 years.
Okay.
I think the least our political leaders, or the least the older Gambian people, is at least allow us to make that decision. And for that to happen, they must agree on the draft to go to the parliament stage. And this can be a referendum question, because if everything else is agreed on the top and the only issue, it can be personal, it can be a referendum question.
Okay.
So I think that should solve the problem. If all the political parties are representing the people and the group interest, they should not have an issue with having all
the people decide
what we want to consider, particularly on this issue, which I think is actually shameful that in this so-called New Gambian courts, we are even having a stalemate over question over how long a president can stay in power.
Thank you.
That's a lawyer's argument. It's not about that. It's about how long a person can stay in power.
All right. Okay. Well,
a person can stay in power. I mean, beyond 10 years, 15 years, or not.
Yeah.
That's what we're discussing right now.
All right. Thank you.
Let's move away from these technical issues of retroactivity, whether it's not possible. Of course, possible.
So you were saying
will to ensure that every president that comes to power will not serve beyond 10 years, including the president.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's the issue.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tal, for... Yes, I can get you. No, I'm just saying thank you very much for your input.
John.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Hello, John.
Yeah, I can get you. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we are finding it difficult. But Mr. Tal has raised very good issues, but also in line with what we're saying. And I think there is a general disappointment in the population with the way the president has handled the whole issue. Because like most people have said, you said New Gambia, one of the key campaign promises was to have a new constitution. 4 years down the line, we don't have one. And now the president is still insisting that this term should not count. And obviously you have people supporting that. But now going forward, Mr. Tal has just made a proposal that can't we have now go to the referendum with a question, when do you want the term to start, 2017 or 2021, as a separate thing, but also have 2 terms in the constitution? Is that a possibility? Because, Mr. Njai, you will also agree that with every constitutional review or constitutional building process, there are trade-offs.
There has to be consensus and compromise.
But there will be compromise. So I'm just saying,
the issue here is not the compromise and the consensus. The issue here is about our Gambianness, our Gambian core identity going forward post December 1st, 2016. And what are these? We suffered for far too long because of people trying to entrench themselves.
Yeah.
People paid the ultimate price for us to be where we are.
Yeah.
So therefore it is disheartening that post December 16, we will be sitting talking about how long someone can stay in power.
Are you still assuming that our leaders, that the leaders we have in this country, or the political leaders, are people of conscience? Are you assuming that? Because you are saying, you are expecting that the president will be conscientious enough to say, okay, we've gone through 22 years of self-perpetuating rule. I have come on a ticket of 3 years. I have 5. If I have another 5, then it should be okay. But you are assuming that is the type of a president you have. But if the person has reneged on one promise and now is trying to entrench himself, the question is, can't the Gambian people, taking their Gambianness, decide in December that we are...
Why should we wait till December to decide?
But that's an election. That's an election.
No. Here is the issue here.
Are we ready for any way of now having a peaceful protest?
John, Olof Njaay ne kuñ jox yépp doo jël yépp benn ñaareel ku la ne buur saay ne ko buur saay ñun ñooy buuri nag nit ñi nga xam ne ñoo sos dëkk bi boot dëkk bi moom dëkk bi. Therefore allow me to finish.
Go ahead.
ku ñuy jël nga def la suñ njiit si suñ waaw nga mun a doxee lan mooy suñ waaw suñ mébét suñ buga suñ liñ nama ak liñ gënta as Gambians collectively right now December 16 to date dafa am lu fi xew ñun ñëpp suñ buggeel mooy woon ñu turn a new page and build a new Gambia nañ leen waxante dëgg ñu bàyyi maslaa bi moo ñu bugg a loor lan naka la ñu maslaa bi looree yéen ñëpp xam ngeen li fi rom nag déedéet déglu ma Mr. Ndiaye li fi rom balañ koo mun a wax ba nit ñi jël ko mooy ñi nga xam ne am nañ kaddu ci askan bi te nit ñaa ngi leen a déglu di leen dégga ñu wax li laay war a suuri te waxal te yàlla tax te Gambia loolu mooy lan non defuñ ko. We are still massaging the truth and we should stop massaging the truth. Thank you.
So since the Gambians have their vote, can't the Gambians make their voices heard?
But yéen tamit ñu nekk ci rajo bi gannaaw Gambians ngeen yaakaar ñu génn a vote. ngeen leen won leen fi dégg bi taxaw dégg nag du yaaga bem randu de xam nga lan mooy randu. présentation yi dégg bi waaye dégg bi fi mu taxaw ilaarul abadan fa laa taxaw nañ ko wax te yàlla tax.
All right, we will soon open the lines. I think today we'll try and open the lines a bit earlier so that we could get people's take and opinions on this interesting issue. But I started with Senegal. And the reason I started with Senegal, and I asked the question, are our leaders learning? Because when you provoke the people want a new constitution. And you are there insisting that, well, term or no term, when it starts, and it's almost like a political game being played. Are our politicians and our political leaders not playing with fire by playing these political games with having a new Gambia established by having a new constitution in the country?
You see, the political temperature must be well gauged. The political class in Africa, especially Senegambia, has been using poverty as an instrument of repression. How? They have been giving the carrot and stick to the overwhelming majority of our population who are poor. And Macky Sall has been dealt a bitter blow because peace is just not the absence of war, but it's the prevalence of an equitable social contract. And we have seen that Senegal didn't have a good social contract, and Sonko became the spark that ignited a revolt. But the revolt was beyond politics and it was more of a socio-economic revolt. Gambia too, it's a society of indifference. Just go into the Igbo town, the Talindings, the Abukos, especially during the rainy season. You will know that our ruling class are sleeping and they have forgotten that development has passed many of our citizens.
And I think there are two instances in this country that should be learning points. One was when Yankubu Bature refused to testify, and within a short period of time, Keraba police was overwhelmed with protesters and all that. And the other one was the July thing when the guy was allegedly tortured at the serious crimes, and like over some short time, the young people got up and we also
mobilized.
And are these not things that our political class should learn from, and also make sure that they're on the right side of history?
Well, generally, the political class is always myopic. Dama delu ci olof ñu ne buur ayu dagam yi ñoo aay. Buur yi nag dañ dee gumbo dañ dee tex because dañoo wërale seen boppa ñoo xam ne ay cantakun lañ neewuñ fi dara di leen waxal liñ bugg a dégga di leen won liñ bugg a gis. Loolu nag mujjanteel gi daf day ñaaw. Am na benn nataali Yaaya Jammeh ci bési election night bi. Conference hall am baa ngi gudda moom kenn comme si table microphone yépp a ko wër mu jël loxo bi ne nii. In that span of 10 minutes, Yaya Jammeh revisit na 1994 be guddi googu noonu. Lan la ko woon man keenaa fi des. Kon nag nguur gi yëpp ak ñi nga xam ne ñoom la yàlla dénka lenge. Bàyyi leen seen xel dat yi ngeen a àndal ñu wër leen di leen won lu dul dëgg.
Bés bi dina ñëw yow.
Dina ñëw moom ala kulli aali bés bi dina ñëw.
Well, we want to open the lines. The number to call is 446-1193. This is Straight Talk. Where are we as a country going forward? President Goodluck Jonathan is in town for, I believe, what is the last rounds of talks. If there is a stalemate, we might not have a constitution. What can we Gambians do to ensure and put pressure on our political class to have a new constitution and establish a new Gambia before we get into presidential elections. We have the first call coming in. Good evening, caller, and welcome to Straight Talk.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So compare agriculture Senegal. Diallo is our leader. We shall not be moved. Lolo kaila won. Lolo yagana.
Okay.
60 Shibula 70 Sitabi Muson Nanyonju. Banyol Demba State House. Pula Chow as President of the Nepal. Wow, problem is Gambia you don't even but I'm just they can escape. Bereba. Maybe Chagor you could be DICI. Public Jaboti. Why not Kujaki and Absolute? Make it tell me how Senegal, Lulu, Kuga. Telugana will be real Mohammed. Kano na utakari at 2 times in Korebu Tumun. Paski, you na topa. Mom Daniel and John Chocolate. You said now come and learn a John Chocolate. No, you just go to Coconut Hammer more than you like it.
Okay.
You have your thing like John in the call level. Coconut and now go on them. Didn't study. I
Okay.
Jërëjëf.
Okay. All right, Bala.
waaye kenn waxut ne li xew Sénégal lañ fi bëgg te yal na bu mu fi am. te yal na ñu ci dégg doy. waaye dañ bëgg a wax dara tamit ñu xam ko. gis nga dëkka mbooloo moo ko moom. xeet moomut ko groupe moomut ko interest groups moomuñ ko. te nag ñi gën a xeeb ci dëkka muy niiw ji doole ñoo ñoo ëppa doole ci dëkka di te ñooy ñi ëppa.
The voice of the people.
jërëjëf.
All right, let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Fine, thank you. Can you speak up, please? Wow. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I think we are losing that. The reception seems not to be too good for that caller, but we have another call coming in. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Yes.
Am I being heard?
Yeah, we are hearing you.
My contribution will lie much with what Mr. Shangai said. I agree entirely with all his submissions.
Yeah.
And I want to add that what we as a nation lack is what I would refer as leaders in thought. The country needs thinkers.
Okay.
And we seem to lack them. And if we have them, we have those who are egocentric, selfish, competitive, and so forth. And that's why we will not move.
Okay.
I am speaking as a student, as somebody who probably you would not have considered or expect me to call on radio and make such comments. But what we lack the basic foundation as a nation.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to revisit as a country if we are really ready to move forward.
Okay.
And what is happening in Senegal, in real political academic terms, I really want it to happen in Gambia. And we should not consider it to be a destruction. It's more or less a reconstruction of the nation. Because when the foundation is not there, there needs to be those social or political revolutionary restructuring of the foundation until it is solid. We right now understand there's no way whatsoever that we are going to have a constitution come before December. There's no way whatsoever. We are nearly wasting our time. I can tell you here, legally speaking, there's no way whatsoever that we can have a constitution again.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we really need to also be serious as Gambians. If we keep negating things and saying this is impossible, Mr. Jai has said that if the people can peacefully protest or whatever, possibly that could be one way of change. Another way of change is by the ballot box. But if we keep saying that this is not possible, if we put pressure on our political class, I believe there can be some there can be some movement or some progress in having a new constitution. But Mr. Njai, the other question maybe to ask, yes, you could say that the people must resist, but are the Gambians ready for that? That is the question, because you talk about the selfishness of the business class and other groups of people. Everybody is minding their own. Do we have a critical mass that can say, look, enough is enough, we are going to have a peaceful protest and tell our politicians that we occupy the streets until the politicians decide to take the constitution to a referendum?
Unfortunately, Gambia is a country and a society of indifference. What does that mean? It means, in simple terms, that the average Gambian outsources his or her social and political deliverables to others to do. And who are these others? The very few. The Madi Jobates, the John Charles Jais, the Salih Tals of today, and few conscientious people who want not to be on the front lines, but make sure that the truth remains where it should be. But those people lack the critical mass. And what are these people looking for? They are looking for like-minded people to come and join them in the crusade to dignify our country. In the crusade to tell our leaders we own our country. Let us make this very clear. We don't hate the establishment. We don't hate any political operative. We don't hate any Gambian, because we are collectively in the same boat called the Gambia. But what we hate is the exploitation of the masses because of their indifference, ignorance, and poverty.
And that will agitate the masses anyway.
This I take offense. And any leader who abuses the welcome of his people is as bad as a dictator.
But just also to throw light, we are all in for peaceful protest. Definitely what has happened to Senegal should not happen here. I don't care what good can come out of it, because we are so far behind. If we begin to destroy our infrastructure, it will take us God knows how many years. But the voting system is a peaceful demonstration of your vote or whatever.
No, the voting system is a peaceful way of revolting, provided the environment is level.
Okay.
So you know what? We cannot talk about an end game that's not giving you equity.
Well, we are hoping that the electoral reforms bill will be in Parliament and our parliamentarians will pass that. At least that will help with the level playing field. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Hello? They will hello?
My friend, we are listening.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I said hello.
Hello. It's the airtime. Sorry.
All right. If you are calling, just please go to the point. I think the lines are also misbehaving. Yes, good evening. We have another call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Good evening. Wawa, okay.
So why should we allow that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, but the question still remains then, what do we do? Because, I mean, to complain about the problem.
No, what we need to do is very simple.
Okay.
Gambians need to wake up from their slumber and understand that this country will only move and progress if there is a concerted effort by the citizenry and the populace.
Okay.
And the most important thing is the core document that binds us together collectively.
Yeah.
We cannot say that we have transitioned from 22 years of dictatorship without a new document binding us and telling us who we are and how we should live, number one. But the key driver is the citizen-in-chief that we voted to man our transition.
Okay.
And the most non-expensive, the most useful and productive deliverable out of the transition is a constitution.
Yeah.
Have you seen the president champion this constitution from day one? Have you seen him when this constitution nearly lost oxygen to beg, plead with the assembly to do something about it? Since that paper died, have you seen him try to resurrect it by invoking in us to support this document? Well, absence is a form of consent.
All right. Next call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Maaleykum salaam. Yeah, Malek.
Wow, is there man dama mënut a understand naka lañ la amee réew mu ees mënu na am constitution.
Bu ees.
Jërëjëf.
Taw ba nga nekkoon ci biir bi. sa life yëpp ngeen ne. lu waa yaari tamit benn baaxut. ngeen ñëw ñu sànni leen gàttam ngeen toog ba ñu si 50 years nii. benn ak benn loi benn dara ñu leen ko ci li nga wax ne. ñëpp dafa ko.
Shameful.
So seetaanee fi mu ne Sénégal ñu ngi laa woon Sonko ñu ngi woon yeneen ak yeneen just next door nii. ñu naan yaa ngi jàngee ci lii. te ñu ngi la ñaan yàlla bu fi xam.
yàlla bu fi xam.
man naa ma fa nekk parole dafa foog ne ñu dañ ma nelaw dafay comme. mais dafa war a dra loo bi pour moom intérêt am ba mu biir si néegi pateem MPP. mu door a wax ne dafa indi constitution bu mu dugal pour moom lu ko faral wala lu ko neex. lu tax constitution bi ñu dugal ci xaalis bu bëri bii suñu xaalis. ba pare mu nekk si loolu ne constitution bi du dox parce que dafa bañ a compter 5 years am bi. ñoom ñëpp xam nañ loolu léegi. ci njëlbeen dama daa wax ne ñun ñëpp nañ waxal suñu waa kër. suñu jarbaat suñu nijaay suñu doom suñu sëti suñu yaay yi maajet yi. suñu papa yi nga xam ne dañoo wane bëggul ko taxaw moo ko fool moom lay fay. ñooñu lañ war a jàngal éduqué fi de. waaw loolu génn si nit. comme ñaanal ñeneen ak ñeneen moom maa di jobaate kay ñeneen ak ñeneen. ñoom ñëpp nañ génn. ñu uti le programme ñu wax nit ñi. comme que LCC moom génnuñ wax ak kenn. te xam naa ne suñu génnee di waaj lu ànda nguur gi rek la ñoo wax. man nag moom ci time balaa il 2021
waaw
décembre bi. war nañoo xeex lu wax bi. suñ toog naan foofu moo ko génne foofu du ko génne.
waaw
suma gis foofu du ko génne parce que àgg nañ di toppal mbir mi. comme ñu toppee woon yaaya at the beginning. te mu fal ñu ñëw dañu def moo kenn. léegi dama fa ne di seen trend moo ñëwaat lu waaye dañu war a forcé mu dugal ndax ñu compté 5 years am bi jërëjëf.
baax na jërëjëf. Well, that's very clear from that caller. The Gambian people need to put pressure, mount the pressure. Let's take this call. Then we will take you, Mr. Guy. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Wàññil sa radio bi please ba pare nga wax ci kaw. wàññil sa radio bi. waaw. Okay. Well, the Gambian people are speaking, but again, beyond the speaking, I think
they should not wait for the Gambian people to speak. I'll start with the Public Order Act.
Okay.
This has been used to punish many Gambians, including Solo Sandeng, Usainu Dabo, and others. 4 years into this transition, the Public Orders Act still remains, and this government has used it to their advantage by not allowing people to congregate.
In fact, it's all the laws that...
but what are we doing as citizens of this country to show the government that we, the people, reign supreme? And this is Nyang Jai's agenda. From now till he gets into his grave. It's not about Adama Barrow, but it's about the welfare, well-being, and the superiority of the Gambian over his political servant.
Yeah. All right. We have a call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk.
Yeah, I am again. What I am trying to say, our problem in the Gambia is we people of the Gambia, we need to awake now to know what is going on. Because if you see the president himself and his family taking care of by the taxpayer, taking salary and the family and all these things that he needed, it is provided by the taxpayer. And those people are suffering here, but they are the anyone who are clapping for the president, dancing, taking benefits and joining these big delegates and taking pictures. They are the very problem.
Okay.
So the enemy of progress. Let's call it spirit. Time enemy of progress.
Wow. Okay. The issue is, and I think people, I want to appeal to callers. Let's look at what are the possibilities for we as a people, because we can keep saying Gambians are the problem, but when will Gambians become the solution? So that's where we need to start. What are the wow.
wax ko dëgga ñun Gambians yi dañ mun a maslaha di massage dëgga nañ leen moolante gis nga Nyang Jaay yara dëkkuwut Nyang Jaay sibul kenn bañut kenn xeebul kenn génnul kenn waaye Nyang Jaay te yàlla tax te Gambia tax bañut nag ñëpp nekk noonam waaye dina wax dëggam tëdda guddi nelaw loolu lañ war a door suñ njiiti xam ne ñun duñ ay marchandise ay nit ñoo xam ne ay gor lañ te gor da nga ko war a treat comme gor duñ bagage.
All right. We have another call. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Straight Talk. Yeah. Yes.
Once again, you brought out a very nice topic.
Thank you.
My take is, when we were instituting the CRC, I think overwhelming majority of Gambians agreed on one thing.
Yeah.
And that is, the president after Yahya Jammeh should spend more than 10 years in power.
Yeah.
I think that was the overwhelming majority of the view of Gambians.
Yeah.
How do you guarantee that if you don't have this specific law in our constitution?
No, the term limits are there. Okay. When it starts, yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
And I think all Gambians agreed at the beginning that no president after Yahya Jammeh should stay in power for more than 10 years.
So if the president is adamant on this, what can we do? That's what we are asking. That's a question on the minds of Gambians.
Here is my take on this one.
Yes.
We must insist that it has to be effective there.
How can we insist?
And put him out.
How are we going to insist?
We have seen it in so many places in Africa.
Yeah.
That majority of citizens will agree with one thing.
Yeah.
And it was controversial simply because only one party, the president, opposes it.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous, really. I mean, it's clear to everybody that nobody wants any president after Yahya Jammeh to stay in power for more than 10 years.
Okay.
I think that's clear to everybody.
Okay.
And the only way to guarantee it is to cut out Adama Barrow's term.
Okay.
That's the only way it can be guaranteed.
Okay.
And we Gambians must insist on so much system that we have to do it.
Okay.
If nobody wants to do it, we can get him out. So let's talk to people that unlike the government, let's take Adama Barrow out.
All right, okay. Well, the question still remains that you get into elections with a new without a new constitution, 1997 constitution. You put Adama Barrow out, a new government comes in. What guarantees do you have? They are not coming up with the same
Mr.
argument.
Jai, I think one thing Adama Barrow cannot sell to the Gambians is his transitional record. Because you cannot go to a campaign and say, I have settled the scores on the account of Yaya Jammeh economically, because you haven't done so.
Yeah.
We had economic gangsters and looters still being close to government and in government. You come to the TRRC.
The report cannot be implemented.
You come to the TRRC. You come to the people who have been dispossessed with their lands. Yeah. Nothing has been done. Our constitution, 4 years and counting, we are security sector reform. So therefore,
possibly he can have electoral reform.
Therefore, Gambians should open their eyes and score this man on a scorecard.
Okay.
That the very reason we all congregated December 4th and booted Jammeh out has gone down the drain for nothing but with an expensive bill to the poor tax-paying Gambian.
All right. Okay. Interesting. We have another call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk.
Yeah, I'm back again. I think your question has already answered it. A program like this is created in media house, like all the radio stations and television stations, and they should not be biased. That comes to how you put the program straight. Let it be straight. People can talk to the level of understanding of the problems in the Gambia.
Okay.
I think it will solve the problem. And not only that, Canterbury and all the areas will be focused on
talking about this.
And tell how to make sure that we gain personally or individually.
Yes. All right, thank you. Well, let the people let's keep the conversation going. Let's educate ourselves and let's talk straight, as the caller said. Let's speak truth to power, as Njai would tell
and to each other.
And to each other. And then Mr. Salutal will say, let the people decide. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Good evening. Good evening. You can speak. We are hearing you.
The call is back.
Please, you have to speak quickly, and so that we could get more calls and get to the point.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you speak? We are listening to you.
Sorry, caller.
Absolutely. There is not only citizens, but it is few of the citizens who know the fact and are saying the Yeah, Gambian people used to ask ourselves questions. Where do we came from and where are we
going? Yeah.
It's 2 questions.
Okay. Okay. Well, where are we going? Where have we come from? And our leaders should also ask that. Taking into consideration the difficulties we've been through.
It doesn't look like we're going somewhere good for the simple reason the trajectory is very gloomy.
But Mr. Njai, I think to some extent, the last time we were looking at the civil society discussion and some of the things that have happened over the 4 years, I think the mere fact that we are able to have such heated discussions and people are beginning to speak out, people are beginning to air out their views, I think that is some progress. Not
some
the progress we want.
Some progress, but not tangible.
Well, okay,
we want tangible, substantive. No.
It begins by the exchange of ideas.
We cannot continue to have a socio-political experiment. Lives of a generation is nearly on hold, and we should make sure it moves. So I guess we need to close this.
Well, maybe your last word.
My last word is, this show is called Straight Talk.
Yeah.
And when I sit on this seat, I try to be as honest as possible, and brutally for that matter, that this country is bleeding, is crying, it's screaming for her sons and daughters to come to her rescue. And it's time, it's time ñu jóg taxawal suñ dëkk ba duñu rus ci suñ moromi nawle ak suñ ay dëkkandoor.
Well, my role is just to provoke the discussion, play the devil's advocate here and there, and to see what the thinking of our people is. We will continue to talk straight, no matter what it costs us. This is our country. This is the country we love. We have no other country to go to, so Gambia, let's keep talking straight, no matter how difficult and painful it is, and no matter who gets hurt. It is our country, so let's talk straight and build Gambia. God bless you and God bless the Republic of the Gambia. Till we come your way next Wednesday, have a lovely evening and keep the smiling coast smiling. Enjoy yourselves. Good night.